And good evening, everybody. I'm taking over Bob's live stream here. So tune in on my channel, and good Monday evening. And I apologize, I've got a giant cat here that just will not take no for an answer. I apologize. I've got to give him what he wants because he won't stop if I don't. So how's everybody doing this evening? The weather seems to be breaking. I hear in most places that we're having cold weather. They say that it's starting to get a little bit more hospitable. Certainly has here. It's kind of moderately winter temperature right now here, but it's going to get warmer tomorrow, quite warm, which is really nice.
Ian's in the chat too.
Hey, boss.
So yeah, it was a passport question. I guess she's already filled it out and ready to send it back in now. So we'll overnight that to them. Get it back to the passport office.
Excellent.
And they gave us a reference number, so everything else is already in the computer ready to go. So I imagine once they overlook that form, they'll be ready to go. But it's like everything else in my life. Nothing can just be smooth, right? I was like, oh, I'm getting mine. She'll get hers, today or tomorrow. It'll be all good. It'll be all good, but
this is government.
But it can't go that way. And the funny thing was the issue that they had at the passport office, my wife pointed that out to the lady at the passport office, said, yeah, I'll go ahead and fill out another form real quick, right? And she's like, no, I'll just wipe that out and we'll write it in and sign it. And then they didn't take it. So there you go. Just a delay of a couple weeks. So
yeah, surprising how the people at the place where you're dealing with, a lot of times they don't know how things work.
Yeah, they know how to charge you though. I mean, they got that money for sure. So let me see. We got 60 people up in here right now. And how many thumbs up we got? Anybody out there? I think we got, I'm showing 7 on mine, but it's not, you got to refresh it to kind of see it.
3, because I just clicked it.
You just clicked it?
Oh, I see.
It went down. People like
I'm actually going to turn
thumbs up.
That tab off. They unliked because I showed up. My
they unliked
because pretty bad right now. Situation going on. Yeah,
but yeah, it just is what it is, man. We're just trying to get it done. And today was a little bit warmer. I need to go ahead and take those pollen patties out of my freezer and get them room temperature, so they're more pliable to throw up on the colonies, right? And get that ready to go. So DC said he saw 23.
And medium frames today.
You put together 100 medium frames?
Yeah. Well, this afternoon.
Are they your cut comb frames?
Yeah, for comb honey. Yeah. So now I need to cut wooden strips on my table saw to put in the groove in the middle. So that part's going to be a pain.
I don't know if you remember when I got those Ceracell Beast Blocker bottom boards that I was showing everybody. I did a video on them earlier in the year. Well, apparently Ceracell has made some changes, and I know there were some things that I complained about on the video, and I don't know if that had an effect on it, but they made changes that addressed exactly what my problems were with it. Like the box didn't seem like it fit like it was supposed to on there. So now they've supposedly squared it up to where the boxes fit perfect for us here.
Nice.
So he said he's going to send me some to try it out, and I'll do a video on them when they come. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and throw up this link here in the chat.
I'm still here.
Hopefully it will allow me to Get the $3. I also got to call somebody lost all their bees this year, so they're looking for some nukes. And I have not called them back yet. So I think he's looking for more of a mentor slash bee, you know, a mentor and to get back into beekeeping, right? So I think that happens a lot, that people are like, oh, I'll just try it on my own.
I see.
And then when it doesn't work, right, then it's like, well, maybe I need to ask somebody who's been doing this a little bit longer. Let me see.
That's the thing. You know, I don't think there's very many people can just be successful at this, but you know, just all by themselves, sort of thing. I always maintain that if doesn't matter how many years you've kept bees or what an expert you think you are, I think you need a mentor, at least somebody you can bounce off ideas.
Well,
you know?
it's definitely a little. Well, I won't say a little bit. It's a lot more challenging than it looks on YouTube, right? On YouTube, I think we see a lot of videos. Okay, I'm getting bees. What do I need to do? Okay, this is how I'm going to add my package, or I'm going to add my nuke, right? And then it's just like, then what? Then you just leave them. Oh, make sure they have room. And when you get a couple extra frames of brood, you make a split and you grow your colonies. So, you know, it's a little bit more
and
challenging.
half the stuff you see on YouTube is it doesn't apply to your weather and whatnot, right?
I think the biggest challenge for me when I started watching YouTube beekeeping videos was I would watch something that's being done, but by the time I watched it, that person had already done it. Like, it might have been 2 weeks after they did it that they actually posted the video, and they're north of me, so I should have already had done that like weeks ago, right? And then I'm trying to emulate them, but now I've missed my window of opportunity to do that. So
a lot of times videos don't come out for, you know, it could be a week or 2 weeks or something. Hey, Tom.
Hey,
a little more appropriate picture behind you there, Tom. Thank you.
Well, you know, I like how Mike Berry does his videos, because he always says, hey, today is
right.
You know,
and
January
you can tell that this was
22nd.
10 to 14 days ago, you know.
Yep. So like I've watched like some Cayman videos, and Cayman would be like, hey, today we're going to talk about splitting the hives, right? Or something, whatever it is. And the day you're watching that video, first of all, Cayman's north of me, right? So he's already behind where I should have been when he's making these splits. And we don't know how long he's had that footage in the can before he made the video a lot of times. So so it's some of that stuff you got to kind of watch, right? So I try to watch people south of me. Right. So if they put it out, it's either like when I should be doing it, or maybe, you know, real close to when I should have been doing it.
Yeah. That was what I did when I discovered Ian's written blog before he was doing YouTube. It was kind of like he was a week ahead of me, and it was like, okay, I watch this or read this update, and then I can go to the store and get all the stuff I need to do what I'm supposed to be doing.
Right.
My weather is a little bit behind his.
Give you time to prepare for it, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And I don't think I've got a manila envelope. I'll find one. Yeah.
What's going on? Is that pretty current snowfall you have there right now?
What happened a few days ago, and most of it melted today. So it came Thursday, Friday last week.
Who was it? Somebody put it up here and I missed it. David Lewis asks, what is premium swarm lure? Hey, David, I've got my own brand of swarm lure called Swarm Rustler. You can buy it on my website, or you can buy it on Amazon. some people that have had it last year had some good success with it. So it says we got 344 viewers right at this moment. Appreciate every one of you that are watching right now. So Tom, what's your next step, man? You got snow right now. What's going on?
Yeah, well, yeah, the snow's melting now. It got up to 42 today. First time above freezing in 10 days, which is good. But I went out to those 3 hives today that fell over that was in sub freezing, -2 to 20, 22 maybe for 6 days. And I broke the doubles down into singles and fed them global patties with rocket fuel to boost them up a little bit because they need help. And I posted that on YouTube today, but not with very much grace, like you mentioned before.
So, with the pollen patties, I've always been I've put pollen on them every year, but I just kind of do it as I feel like they need some. And, it's been freezing or less. Like today, I think it was 24 when I woke up this morning, and I believe it got to 50, right at 50 degrees today. And it's supposed to be warming up, but I'm watching on Facebook and a commercial bee company that is an hour, about an hour east of me. They were putting pollen patties on their colony, even with it freezing outside. And I typically don't open my colonies up. And now I'm like, well, do I just go out there and start plopping patties in them because they're doing it, and it's...
Yeah, it all depends what your goal is.
Well, you definitely got to grow them this time of year, get them started, right? So you have something to work with. No matter what your goals are, you got to have bees to accomplish any of them.
I figured these bees were already falling over and cracked apart, from the bottom board and lids and all that. So there's no point. The seals were already broken that they had sealed up for wintertime. So, and now it's only down to 3 frames of bees. I didn't want them to be in 20 frames of box, 10 and 10.
Right.
So now they're in a single 10 frame. And I figured I need that queen to be laying as much as she can whenever the weather permits.
So what will typically happen here is once the natural pollen starts coming in, they'll pack that brood box right up. They'll just pollen bound themselves right up. So you got to stay on top of it to make sure that they're not going to swarm on you, right? And run themselves out of space. So you're just constantly taking care of that situation. I don't know why I keep looking at the YouTube screen.
Yeah.
Here's Tom. Even Tom put out a video.
Hey, Tom.
How's it going?
It's going good, man. How you doing?
I'm pretty good. Warm.
Inside, right? What's it like outside?
It's cold outside. I had to stop working because I was sharpening saw blades and that involved water, and the water kept freezing. So go figure. Yeah, cold weather.
We got the Sawmill, Charlie. Hey, Charlie.
Hey, Charlie.
Hey, Tom.
You doing okay?
Yeah, not bad. It's cold. 28 degrees right now. It did get up, I don't know, 30, 32, 33 today. And it started, the snow and the ice on the driveway started melting slightly.
So it's turning slushy outside?
If you want to call it, it's starting to get a little soft.
And then it freezes back at night and then starts the whole process over again, right?
Right. And then they say, hey, Sandy, they say by the weekend we're getting some rain. When we get the rain, it'll be 50 degrees. So probably we'll go from snow and ice to flood.
Yeah, we're supposed to get freezing rain tonight. See what happens there.
Hey, Kimberly.
That's always bad news, freezing rain.
Well, it's supposed to warm up here, but as soon as it does, the rain's coming, right? So
that's coming this weekend, it says.
Yeah, it comes tonight for me. Tonight, freezing rain, then rain.
I don't know. I think they said gradually warming up, process, and then the day it's going to be really warm, it's going to rain.
Thursday, it's getting up to 75 degrees here, but it's going to rain.
Wow. I
It's
thought
Friday,
it was
73.
supposed to be up to 45. I was like,
Let's see.
Tomorrow, it's going to be 55 for a high. Wednesday, 67. And then 75, 73, and 68. So we're kind of coming out of our cold here. And, as long as the bees, but it's going to rain. So they're still not going to be out, right? So
Right.
they're going to be pinned up in there.
Well, let's see.
It's supposed to be 54 Wednesday. The following week was supposed to be almost 60 degrees. So that's warm for us.
Well, tomorrow will be 39, they say, on the high. Wednesday, 41. Thursday, 51. Friday, 60, but it's going to rain Thursday, possibly rain Friday. 50 on Saturday and 43 on Sunday, and rain.
Let me see. So the lowest temperature we're going to have after tomorrow will be Sunday, a high of 64, low at 39. And Nancy asked me about the 10-day. And then the following week after that, it gets back kind of cool. 54 and 30, 53, 31, 51 and 30. So it's kind of doing that up and down deal right now.
Yeah,
the ones that kill my bees.
It's not real cold.
Yeah, so that comes back to the topic that we've had pretty much all winter about flying bees versus bees that are stagnant all winter long, right? So if they're flying, they're dying, right? So if they're going out, they're burning resources, they're coming back to the colony, they're eating, and then
storing their wings.
Yeah, so that's kind of what happens here. This is the time of year that, hey, during the day we can fly and get out, but there's nothing for us to get, and then we come back in, and it gets cold at night, and they're clustered up, and this time of year that we lose a good level of bees. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully they come through pretty good. If I did my job, which may or may not be good on their as far as they're concerned, right? So we'll see how it goes. But we did things a little bit different this year, so maybe that'll make a difference. But when I see the commercial beekeeper down the road putting 2 pounds of pollen patty on every single colony they've got, and I'm like, well, do I need to go back and start putting pollen patty on? And that's kind of where I'm at now.
It's a pretty good indicator.
Huh? That's a pretty good indicator.
I mean, if they're local and they didn't just move their bees there from somewhere else, you know what I mean?
No, they come down. They've got 2 yards. They've got one here about an hour east of me, and they make queens and nukes out of there. And they send those nukes to Man Lake and all these other places, right? Mm-hmm. And then when it's May, in the middle of May, they'll move them up to New York, and then they bring them back down for the winter, back down here. So it's I should be following their lead a little bit more, but that is their day job. It's not mine. So I've got to work around my schedule a little bit.
I read a couple articles. If you want to maximize your honey production, you need to be feeding them pollen patties 30 days before your first blooms. In my area, my first blooms is March 1st. That's when the silver maple trees bloom. So theoretically, I should be putting my pollen patties on
next week
February
or so.
1st, within the next week and a half.
Right. So that's
Up in Connecticut, I go early March generally for pollen sub.
Okay, but you're probably another month, 3 weeks, month behind.
We get very few good foraging days for the maple blooms. It's usually just too cold then, you know what I mean? So if you're going to feed, you have to kind of keep it up all the way until the lines open up.
Right.
And I mean, if it's like last year, the dandelions open up and then it gets to be 40 degrees again. So
Let's see. That was trying to see. Yeah, so it's cutic. If anybody's wondering who I'm talking about, it's cutic cutic bees.
So I'm going to try to get some pollen patty on them the first week of February if weather permits.
Well, I've got one box left, so I'm gonna go through that. That means over the winter, I've fed fondant, the strong microbials fondant. I've fed already fed 40 pounds of pollen patty and probably 9 pounds of regular dry Ultra B in the tube. And now we're gonna probably drop this other box of patties on. So
Yeah. I heard the following week we're supposed to get maybe even up to 60 and be sunny. So
yeah, David says Oxford's just south of Norwich, New York. Is where Cutix is up there, and they're in Manning, South Carolina, down here, which is a little over an hour east of me. Actually, east and south a little bit.
right. Where I live, it's kind of weird, right? I'm right there in that corner of Ohio, and there'll be a lot of times in the late winter we'll get warm just right up to the west side of Cincinnati, and 50s, 60s. In the northern part of Cincinnati will still be in the 30s and 20s, and it just makes it right to like downtown.
All right,
Well, we get a lot of storms because of that. Big storms.
Brad's back.
I'm back. I rid myself of the cat.
Like me, you rid yourself of the cat, and then you got to defer for about 5 minutes.
Well, that's the thing. I keep trying to get the cat hair off my face.
Charlie, you're quiet tonight.
I'm just reading some of the comments and stuff here.
Hey, Tom. Hey, Tom.
I'm
Hey,
way
Charlie.
behind.
I'm gonna get so tongue tied. Now we're gonna have Tom, and Todd.
Tom, Todd.
Tom, Todd.
Tom.
Hey, so I was driving home right from work. Couple things. Bob, why don't you try putting those pollen patties in baggies and then slit the bottom like you would if you were using fondant?
Yeah, that's what I did last year, but it was on homemade pollen patty, right?
Yeah.
And all right, so we were having a little chat last night. Brad and I and Ian stopped in and talked for a few minutes, and I made a kind of a revelation. So this year, I didn't put any peppermint in my pollen sub or any peppermint in the colonies. And 2 years ago, I did it hard candies and in my pollen sub. I put peppermint in there. And this year, my hive beetles were so much more out of control than they were when I had the peppermint in the colony. So I know a lot of people ask me, did I still use it? I really didn't use it this past in 2023. And that's because I'm too lazy to do it. I had
2022, you did use it though, right?
I did use it all year.
I would just to save yourself a year, I would not use it again this year and see if 22 is a one-off with beetles. Because if you use it again this year, you're not going to know, right?
yeah, you're gonna have to make control colonies, right?
Yeah, it's something. Yeah.
But it was definitely when I used the peppermint, it was a big difference between 2 years ago and 2 years ago and last year. So either maybe do 50-50 this year and see if I can do it that way, or something to
25, something like that.
But I mean, it got to the point with the peppermint that I was doing an experiment and I had to stop because you'd open up a colony, there was no beetles in it, right? So it's like there's no test left to do. If it's running them out, if they're all gone, then nothing left to do. So the peppermint really did seem to make a difference. It's just a problem. It was a problem with all of the wrappers using the individual candies, right? So you're carrying around a 7-pound bag of peppermints and dropping peppermints on the top of all your frames, and then you got 7 pounds of wrappers left over, right? The remnants that you're dealing with constantly.
You use the extract.
Yeah, that's what I started putting in when I was making my pollen patties. I would put some peppermint extract in there, and that seemed to help as well.
Be real careful if you spill that in your truck. That stuff will eat through plastic.
Yeah.
So I had
Peppermint truck forever.
It wasn't peppermint. Well, I think it was spearmint oil, and I actually had a little vial in my truck, and the only reason I had it was because there was a mouse nest in there. So it was just like smell control.
Right.
And the lid came off and it spilled, and it ate right through my cup holder, and it was ridiculous. I still have a drill bit and a pen that's welded to the plastic because it melted.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
I got one question. Is it a Chevrolet?
Oh no.
No, it's a Ford.
No, it's a
There
Ford.
we go.
There you go. Todd feels good about that.
Hey, the other thing I wanted to mention was to Tom about the pollen patty you just were talking about. You need to back it up even more than 30 days or a week. You need to back it up to 5 weeks, because that's when that's going to get the queen laying, right? So that's when you're going to build your population, and you're going to need that population to work the flow. Well, if your flow is only 1 or 2 weeks, if you start feeding pollen patty next week and the flow starts in 3 or 4 weeks, you're going to miss out, because those bees aren't going to be mature enough to be foragers. So you got to go back 5 weeks. And you go back 5 weeks, then those bees, when they mature, 5 weeks from whenever your flow starts, when those bees mature, they'll be out there during that flow.
I always have immature bees. They're always stinging me and acting chaotic all day long.
Anyway, those are my 2 observations while I was driving. I was racing home to get on.
Oh, it's not cook night. That's right.
Yeah, it's leftover night.
It's a leftover night. That's what we need to do. Is we need to start having like on Tuesday nights, cooking with Todd section, just to know what's on his menu for that night. What
Tuesdays and Thursdays and Sundays. That's when I cook. Saturday's a free night. That's taco truck night. So
I started yesterday cleaning out the kitchen and the office of all of my beekeeping stuff. So it's starting to get a little bit less in the house. You know, got to get it out before I need to start bringing it back in, right? So that's at least give a little break, a little break on it. Let me see.
Boy, it poured here this morning. About 5 o'clock in the morning, it just came down. It actually flooded here a little bit today, so there might be a little moisture in the ground, which would be nice.
Hey, Morgan, we're seeing about your nose and your eyes.
Tom, that's your rate for the year?
Yeah, pretty much. We got it in one night.
Got all your rain in one night?
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
Flash floods, earthquakes, everything going off.
The world's ending in LA. There's flash floods. People can't drive on the freeways after one drop of rain hits it. I mean, it's, total chaos down there.
Right.
We have school closings because of freezing.
This is usually the start of the monsoon season for the West Coast, isn't it?
So Todd, do they react to rain like we react to snow?
Well, first of all, they're not good drivers to begin with, so it doesn't matter if it's rain or snow. They just can't drive. So, but yeah, they react just like if it was snowing. And then Tom, the monsoon is usually in August, late August.
Okay.
That's when it blows up around here.
We got the rooster. in the chat as well.
Mhm.
We do. Randy's there.
Hey, Randy. Hey, Randy.
I kid you not. Talk about the weather and people driving and whatnot. I kid you not. I lived in Vancouver, British Columbia years ago, and I worked in an office building downtown. And I kid you not, there were a few people who, if it rained hard, it rained all winter. All winter it rained, but if it had a really good rain, people who walked to work wouldn't come to work. I thought that was so weird. Being from Winnipeg, like we'll get 3 feet of snow, and then yeah, we plan to go to the movies tonight, but 3 feet of snow. Oh well, still going to the movies, you know.
Well, here, I mean, with the freeze warnings, they close down schools.
Yeah.
Literally, it's like, yep, just stay home. We don't want the buses out on the road and getting trashed, you know.
Now they'll close them here too if it gets cold.
Yeah, -40.
Well, it's 40.
Yeah.
That's the number. If it's -40, then they'll close school.
But that's not.
buses
You said that's not because they want to actually close the schools. It's because they don't want the kids standing at the bus stop.
Yeah, they don't want the kids waiting for the bus at -40.
-39.
And it's a safety
Perfectly
thing.
fine.
Absolutely, man.
Negative.
And it's
I
a
would be the
safety
kids
thing. If
saying-
something happened to the bus, you know, and the bus stopped or whatever, then it could be, you know, kind of because it gets cold pretty fast.
I would be the
that's why.
kid at the bus stop with a thermometer posted right on the bus stop, right? So I'd be watching it. The bus would be coming up the road. Nope, it's -40. See you later. It did.
Enough of this. Yeah, no, you're right. It's not because you can't go anywhere or whatever. It's just they don't want the kids waiting for the bus at
We're
-40.
supposed to have freezing rain here tonight.
Bet you they don't close your state down either.
No, and if they did, I'd still have to go to work.
It's funny how that only works up until you have to go to work. Then it's like, yeah, everything's open. Come on into work. Even though nothing's happening.
Yeah, my job is considered an essential, so even when they declare a state of emergency, they can have me come into work.
Let's see. Yeah, that's a good question, Keith. I don't know that much about cicadas.
They were talking. They were talking about that here on the news that there's going to be a big hatch.
I only ever see the shells on pine trees.
From what I understand, the cicadas, once they emerge and fly, they don't eat. They mate and die.
Mate and die. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds kind of beetle-like.
And then they're like gone for several years, right, before they come back. And that what
Yeah, it's like 10 years or something.
here you can definitely tell when they're here. You get that all constantly. You just see the little brown shells stuck to the trees where they shed their exoskeleton. They eat off the roots of plants, Philip says.
Yeah, I think that's when they're in grub form.
The kids stick their tongue to the sign pole, Dan says. They'd still be there tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well, for Brad is they'd be there next week.
They'd have to be pouring some warm water over their tongue to try to get it loose. But it probably freezes as quick as they're pouring it on there, right? So that'd be, because I've seen those people take the hot water and chuck it up in the air and it just
Freezes.
Takes a lot of hot water. For sure.
biggest thing I got to worry about is if my hoses will explode from the ice that builds up in them.
Yeah, we everything. I switch over to hard black plastic hoses in the winter. And that way I can drain them out, and then the sun will warm it up enough that I can get some water through it.
13
Yeah,
years.
he knows this stuff. Yeah, in fact, it's been like 288 years or something like that since two broods have come out at the same year. We had to go way back to the 1800s.
Since two what?
Two broods, the 13 and the 17, both coming out in the Midwest,
Coincided.
South and Midwest. I think
No,
they
we
only
broke to-
overlap in 2 states, maybe something like that.
We went one year when we rode to DC on the motorcycles. It was a bad cicada year. That was not a fun ride.
No, I bet that would hurt hitting those babies on you.
And
Yeah,
it
we
makes
get
the
a
windshield a
big
mess on the bike too.
17-year one. We just had it like 5 years ago. 4 or 5 years ago, I forget.
You know, that's a good question. Anybody got any insight on that? Is dry pollen sub as good as patty? It's the same base.
Yeah, I think that's going to depend, right? If you're open feeding, right, obviously dry is the way to go, and then you have them bringing it in the door, but you're also feeding the neighbor's bees if you have them. And the patty, right? That's if it's raining out, they're not getting any dry stuff, right? So patty, I think it's going to be,
I always equated the patty more to like the bee bread, right? So it's right on there, so the baby bees that hatch out can come right up and eat it.
Yeah,
right.
the patty will have more carbs in it than the dry. The dry will be pretty much just protein. But the
Plus,
patty
there'll be
will
some sugars in it.
basically dry mixed with a bunch of sugar syrup or something to be palatable to the bees. But it's just a delivery method,
But
as
both
far as
get
the bees are
breeding going.
concerned. Probably kind of the same thing. I think
Yeah,
there might be a behavioral trigger when pollen is coming in the door. Whether they look at that as pollen or not, they probably do.
Mhm.
So there might be a behavioral trigger for brood rearing or something if it's actually coming in the door.
I would imagine
Yeah.
so, right? Because you have the different workers actually performing their different jobs versus just everybody's chewing on it.
Yeah, it's not necessarily just the foragers who are chewing on the patty. It's house bees and nurse bees and whatnot. Whereas the foragers being busy out collecting the protein, I think that might tell the colony something a little different than the patty tells them. Because patty is stored. They look at patty as storage. They don't look at it as a resource like a syrup feeder or something.
So on 5B says, anyone hearing if other beekeepers have been to check hives yet? I've been hearing large crashes in Quebec and east coast of Canada. Also here in Ontario, hearing of total wipeouts too.
I haven't.
I've not heard anything like that. That's not very encouraging.
No.
Doug, have you
I
heard
would expect
anything about
Ohio
that?
to be higher than average this year with losses, just because we've had so many flying days, and then we had this 10 days of very cold, and the bees eating up the resources. If we get another one of those in February, that's going to kill a lot of hives, I think.
Another warm February is followed by a cold snap to kill everything off.
Yeah, because they've eaten all the resources. Because of early,
In Canada, I don't think it's
warm,
usually the
cold.
weather that kills the bees. It's something else. Nosema or mites or something. It's not usually
Yeah,
that. Oh, this winter was different than another. Like you're talking about, Tom. Oh, we get a certain weather pattern or a certain weather fluctuation or something. Then that can do the bees in. Generally,
right.
that's not the case here. April can be dicey because our April weather is kind of like a lot of people's winter.
Yeah,
It can be cold.
I know
and warm,
last year
big
I had
storms,
I had 2 hives in March, early March, where we had 2 weeks of really warm weather. I mean, they breathed, and the queen laid out the whole bottom box, 6 frames. And then we had a week of freezing weather, and the bees would not leave that brood, and they starved to death. They wouldn't go up 2 inches to the food.
Wow.
And that's when I decided I'm doing all singles now and put the food right on top of them.
Yeah.
Have you any? Go ahead.
They've eaten up into the honey box, and they wouldn't go. They wouldn't move any higher up. They wouldn't go up into the deep box, the second deep box.
So, did you ever find them storing pollen patties in the comb? I found that with the pollen powder that they pack it away.
So
I know
Dr. Jamie
beekeeper that
Ellis down at University of Florida had a study come out. I think it was 2021, maybe 22. Either way, it was on exactly that storage of pollen sub, and it was like super low, like 1 or 2% storage. Um, I don't know if there's any other ones, right? There's, that if that was the first one, that'd be an exploratory study, so you need to
Yeah.
confirm. But
Randy Oliver noted that in his pollen patty uh, evaluation study, and he made that statement that they don't store it. Now, I do know at least one beekeeper who swears they do, so I guess maybe there's not a black and white answer to that. I
so I have
tend to agree that don't count on them storing it. Like if they do, it's very little.
So
Yeah,
I have
I'm gonna have to watch that because these patties I got, these global patties, got 15% real pollen in them. So I don't have to
But
strip
really, if you
that
think
part
about
out.
it, even if you've got a pail, like I feed with a pail on top, they come up through the hole and they get the syrup, and then they take that down. They can store that, even if then they have a internal frame feeder. They pick up that syrup. They still got to process that. They still have to, you know, enzymes and processing and drying and stuff like that. So that's what they want to do to store that. Um, whereas the patty, if you think about the patty, it doesn't matter if it's in comb or not. It's in there. It's in the hive. It's there. And bees are very thrifty. They don't work on things when they don't have to. And I think to me that they just look at that and say, "Hey, here's a bunch of, bee bread or something similar, and we're not going to bother to chew it all up and then go and spit it out into a cell. That would be kind of
Right.
pointless." That's
Tornado
mostly my
going on there,
opinion, but
Tom.
Otherwise,
know.
they would eat. I mean, I've been in colonies where they've been working on patty. You'd think that if there wasn't much going on and all they had to do was consume patty and store it, that they would go ahead and do it all, like now, right? It would just
Yeah,
be done and stored.
So
and
I don't
also
have
too, if they're not brooding, if you put a patty on and they're not, if you have a hive, and I see this in my apiary all the time, I'll go around the spring, everybody gets patties, right? And then I go around do my assessments in say a week, and I open up lids, and there's a few of them have not touched their patty at all. Well, guess why? No queen, no queen, no brood, no eat patty. So that tells me that the ones that are consuming the patty aren't just storing it; they're using it. Because if they don't have brood, they don't touch it. It sits there.
Yeah, we don't want them to store. We want them feeding brood.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
well, so I did those spirulina trials, 25% spirulina, and I can't. I'm on my phone. I wish I could like somehow share my screen here. I have pictures of them storing that spirulina a lot, and I don't mean like a small amount. I mean just about every single cell you can see it stored in there.
Interesting.
And the reason I know it was stored is because I did it in 2 yards, 10 colonies per yard. 5 got spirulina mix, 5 didn't. And all the ones with the spirulina had all that green stuff stored in the pollen sub. And so I'm going to try that again this year. I'm on my phone. I wish I could share my screen somehow.
Mark said something a minute ago that I never really thought about, and Mark says it's his opinion that dry pollen makes those drones shoot blanks.
Mm.
Drones are pretty gentle, so to be perfectly honest, it wouldn't surprise me.
Well, if they're if
About
they're
everything makes drones shoot blanks.
if they're being raised on dry pollen versus natural pollen.
Yes,
That's what that's something I don't think anybody's looked at.
So
Yeah,
drone,
no,
there's I can't remember the
And
actual.
once there's real pollen, they won't touch the dry pollen.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
that usually there aren't any drones until there's real pollen.
Yeah,
That'd be
so
hard
with
to know, wouldn't it? Because your use of dry pollen feeding is very much, for the most part, outside of queen mating season.
Right.
Yeah.
But again, if it's stored, if they're storing some of that.
I've never seen them store the dry. I've never seen them store patties.
Yeah, I haven't seen them store patties.
I don't know everything, but
I
that's
don't
just
think
my
it's
observation.
So like the Jamie
Generally
Ellis
just
study,
hand them out.
you have to be able to dye the patty right in order to tell it, because otherwise there's no way to tell.
Yeah.
I fed the dry and quit it because they would fill the darn combs up with the pollen, and then they really wouldn't utilize it. And then here I'm like, I wanted that comb for brood, and I kind of quit doing the dry. And then, like you say, you really have to get it out there early. I think the patties, because as soon as the maples or whatever bloom, they're done with it. They're not gonna even
Right. And the
I
real
may have
stuff comes out.
misspoke that I think maybe I said I haven't seen them store the dry, but the dry they store. I may have misspoke there. But
Yeah.
the patties,
Did
I
you have
don't
dye in
really.
that to be able to tell they're storing it, or
The dry
Yeah.
pollen. Well,
Bright yellow.
if there's natural pollen, they don't forage the dry, right? So that's
Right.
kind of the distinction there.
That's fair.
And the dry pollen that I feed does look very, very different than the patties. And I don't think I've ever seen, because if they're on patties, there's really no pollen in the combs to speak of. Certainly not 2 pounds of it.
Do you think they see the pollen patty as stored, since it's in there already in that form as a patty? You think they see that
Well,
as
I think it is. That they look at that as stored already. And one of the reasons I believe that as well is, like I said, if they're not brooding, then the patty just sits there. They don't do anything with it. So we know that queenless colonies will forage and store pollen and nectar. They just keep doing it. They can't help it. So, if they were storing the patty otherwise, why would queenlessness make them not store the patty suddenly? I think it's just that if they have no queen, they don't have any reason to use the patty because it's already stored in the hive. It's in the hive. I don't think they care that it's in a comb or not.
So what, Tom?
That's my perception.
The spirulina, Nancy in the chat there, she was using it, buying pre-made pollen patties. I guess it was in it. Now she can't get it. So what is the benefit of this stuff? What's it do?
So spirulina, it's just got a more it's closer to what's naturally found in natural pollen. And actually chlorella, not spirulina, which is another microalgae, is a lot more, it's got a better lipid content than spirulina, but essentially it sounds kind of similar to the whole rocket fuel idea, right? It's supposed to be aligned closer with natural pollen stuff. The problem with the chlorella stuff is you're talking about like $11, $12 a pound for that powder, right? So that's insane. So there's the USDA researcher that's testing it right now. He actually dropped from 25% to 10% mix. I think it's partly because of the cost. Because spirulina also, right? You talk about if you're buying it in the powder form, it's like $7 a pound, whereas your pollen sub, you're paying $2. You know. But I mean, me personally, I did mine, and I'd be happy if I never looked back and I just kept going with it, because it really was. You could just you could see it in the colonies, right? The colonies that got it droned up, and I'm in Connecticut, they were droning up in the end of the dirt. You know what I mean? Whereas the other colonies that got the natural regular pollen sub didn't drone up like that, and then they were storing it, and et cetera, et cetera.
They were droning more so. Okay.
Droning
So
period.
guys,
I'm talking about at the end of the season after the summer dearth. Our bees don't drone at that time of year, right? It was like a running joke. I was like, oh, it turns queens into drone layers. Look at that.
So did they stop making the pollen patties then? Is that what happened? Is that, the pre-mix stuff?
Oh, I never got the premix. I just mixed my own. So you just go to Walmart and get like 8 or 16 pound bags of spirulina, dry spirulina, and then you mix that 25% spirulina, 25% or 75%, whatever you're using. I used Man Lake Ultra Bee, and then your regular, sugar water mixture, and you just mix it up. It turns into this, like, actually have a YouTube video on it. It turns into like a giant sticky green swamp turd. Dyes everything. Everything it touches turns green. It washes out really easy, but everything it touches turns green.
Is that the same stuff that Cayman was trying a couple years ago that they said was seaweed pollen patties?
Yeah. It's a microalgae. You know what? I'm actually going to show you guys.
He made it sound like he didn't care for that product.
There was somebody else that said that.
Well, I do remember him saying, I don't think my bees have ever foraged seaweed. I remember him saying that.
Yeah. Well, has any of your bees ever foraged, dried egg protein and stuff? Because
Yeah,
I mean, you know what I mean?
I'm not saying I agree with that assessment, but Bob was just saying whether he liked it or not. But I do recall him saying that. So not sure what his opinion is. Those proteins and nutrients and stuff, they show up everywhere in nature. They don't show up just in daisies and things like that. There are a lot of different places.
I'll just stick with Apis Biologics.
Guys, it's been a long day and I got to get up early, so I'll just stop in and say hey for a little bit, and I'll talk to y'all later. Have a good evening.
All the best.
All right.
Night, Morgan.
Night.
This was the first time I've ever bought patties for $2.25 a pound. I figured it cost me $1.25 for me to make them. So I'm spending another extra $1, but it's got Apis Biologics in it. So
right. Well, I
know the bees love that stuff.
These patties that I bought this year, and I've bought very few pre-made patties in the past until this year. I was just buying the powder and making my own, but I always had a problem with them drying out, and it didn't seem to matter what recipe or anything I put together, they would dry out in the colony. So I stopped doing it.
So that's why I just walked out here to show you guys this. So this is spirulina patty, right? Look at how totally
blow it up, Bob.
Wet and mouthy this thing is.
Yeah, I can make them bigger. Hold on.
Still turning my fingers. This stuff is wet. Has been uncovered since I fed these things in, that was September. This has just been sitting out, never dried out. Look at that. I love it. How cool is that? It's not that like dried cake stuff, you know what I mean? That's my own laziness for leaving it out. Yeah, so this is just one of the spirulina patties.
And you said you just buy the spirulina at Walmart?
Yeah, just Walmart. You just stuff that shipped over from China, right? If you're going to buy it local, don't, because it's just going to make you go for way too expensive.
So you put Chinesium in it. Isn't that what
Chinesium.
Chinesium.
Chinesium patties?
I wonder if they give you a fortune little piece of
You get a fortune. You get a fortune in it when you open up the box. Oh, lost him again. Just kidding.
We'll have to re-ask that question.
He'll come back.
Yeah, he'll come back. He just disconnected real quick.
In the spring, you'll see bees feeding on cattle mineral you put out for cattle feed.
I put one of them blocks out before.
Mineral block. Just about anything dusty. The bees have been over half a mile over at my neighbor's, raiding his bird feeder. You know, seeds and nuts and stuff. And
they would get on my hawk
right
feed.
inside it. The bees were going right in where the birds would feed. They'd burrow right inside, and then the feeder had a bunch of bees in it, and they'd burrow right up through the seeds, and then they'd be inside there. They can't get out. Crazy bees.
The spirulina absorbs and interferes with Wi-Fi. It's like aluminum foil hat. Now, which one of the pollen percentages did Global Patty do away with? The 4 or the 15? Because I know they did away with one of them, didn't they? They said they were.
I bought at Nabby. I bought the 15%. That's what they offered. So they got rid of the 10, I guess.
No.
But somebody was standing there when I was ordering them, said that there's no advantage of putting more than 15% in the pollen patties. But they had, when they did their testing.
Navi only had 4 this year. They got rid of the 15 this year.
Got rid of the 15. I thought they got rid of the 4.
I know they got rid of one of them. Well, there's a way to find out.
The ones I
different. Canadian production is different than the U.S. too, so I can't really speak to it. You've got
Nabi. They just offered only the 4%. I guess because it's cheaper.
Yeah,
to make it look good.
Yeah, one of my goals is to do more splitting this year without trying to hurt honey production too much. Early splitting. So I'm going to try to fire them up early, hoping the weather cooperates.
We quite often get patties on in March.
Nice.
Yeah, Sandy, Icy Mountain, which is Sandy. It's Apis biologic. That's my analogy of it. It turns your sugar water into nectar. And
I could get patties on 25% of my colonies. the ones on the top of the stack.
Right.
Let's see.
And it works. And everybody pretty much agrees with it here, I would say.
Yep. Good stuff.
And like Brad said, it's a great way to check and see if you got queens.
You know, what
using Apis?
Using patties.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, if you got a patty, you got a patty on there for a week, and you open the lid and you haven't touched it.
Here's something, Brad, that old Global Patty offers. You can add Nosevit to the pollen patty.
And what is that?
They'll mix whatever you want.
Well, Nosevit is for nosema, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's a nosema treatment.
Now, is Nosevit like an antibiotic though, or is it something else?
It's just snake oil.
Okay. I mean, I've never used.
I should say it's a snake oil. I apologize. I have talked to beekeepers who use it and they say it works. But what I'm saying is, it's not a It's not a synthetic. It's not a pharmaceutical. It's a, a Hive Alive type product. It's a.
I got you.
It's some kind of formulation that people say works. That's about it. There's some science.
So they're saying for 4% patties, they're $1.58 a pound on, assuming everybody's ordering less than 5,000 pounds. 15% is $2.05 a pound, and you can add things to it at additional cost, right? So Apis is $34 a pound more. So
global patties.
Global patties, yeah.
Yeah, the problem with the shipping after, though, you can add another 50 or 75 cents a pound to it.
Yeah, because of the weight, right?
Yeah.
Let's see, depot locations. Nobody near me, obviously. Always nobody near me.
I want to try the NutriBee. Is that Keith Jarrett's formula there?
Keith Jarrett's stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Where you buy that at?
There is no way to get it.
Yeah,
on our
there's no way.
NutriBee.
I could get some from someone here in California, but it's hard to find. It's hard to get. Well, I don't know how you order it. I
think by the truckload.
Send a 53-footer over to Keith's house. That's how you get it.
Yeah.
53-footer.
Yeah, for sure. That's it. Send a triaxle.
How much did you order? Well, 53,000 pounds.
Yeah. Well, that's what
we'll never have to buy it again. One purchase, right? Buy once, cry once.
Open stores for 10 years.
How much is that shipment? Oh, 100 grand.
But you only have 30 hives. So
Yep.
You're good for a long time.
Forever. Forever. But I see, here's the thing, though. If you bought that, then people that were nearby and be like, oh, we can get that down here at Bob's place. So there is that side of the equation, I guess. But I can't afford 53-foot trailer full of it. That's for sure.
Well, what's nice if you got the whole trailer load, right? All you can do is you can just actually make the hive out of the pollen sub. I mean, no wood, no outer cover, nothing. It's literally just made of pollen sub, right?
Right. Just cut a hole in the middle of it and drop bees down in it.
Right there, yeah.
Let me see.
Well, my hand's all green now. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you can't touch this stuff.
What did you say? A swamp turd is what you call that?
It's a swamp turd, yeah.
You get on the video. Yes, friends, take 1 2-ounce swamp turd and put it on top of your hive frame.
Yeah.
It's a big green
ounce of swamp turd. It's stink pickle. A
big green stink pickle.
You could literally do that. Get that tube plastic, right, and just squeeze it in there, and then seal both ends, and you could sell it like stink pickles.
Yeah.
Boy, I can.
So Vince is asking about storing patties, and yeah, I freeze them. I put them in the freezer for the winter. I guess I didn't have to put them in the
otherwise
freezer.
known as his backyard.
The freezer, aka everywhere.
It's actually warm. That's the funny part about it.
Yeah.
Let me just go in the walk-in freezer and warm up for a minute.
It's a walkout freezer. You walk out of any building and it's a freezer.
It is actually warmer in the freezer than it is outside.
Oh yeah.
That's funny.
Well,
my barn was warmer last week than outside.
Let me see.
It was 0 outside. My barn was about 30, 32. That's not heating it. That's just from getting the heat from the ground.
So Vince Gagne says, how long does the patties last? I don't know. As long as they're frozen. shouldn't be a problem,
Yeah,
right?
frozen,
That's
they
what he's
last pretty
answering. But
long.
he's wondering if you can put them in the freezer, and that's exactly what I
Yeah,
do.
deep freeze 'em.
Freeze them.
I've got mine in the freezer now. What I've got left.
Me too.
3 pounds of honey to a gallon starting. Oh, okay. He's talking about mead.
Yeah.
Nice.
Does anyone have Tom's recipe for those bricks? Pollen sub and spirulina, 25% spirulina by weight.
Oh yeah. So all I did was 25% spirulina, 75%
Ultra
Manly
B.
Ultra
B.
B, right? And then 2-to-1 sugar syrup until I got the consistency I wanted. The consistency is the hard part, right? Because it's a swamp turd; it gets sticky.
Did you? Bob said by weight. Is that important? The
Yeah,
two
that's by weight.
components.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did it weight. And
So
on
you're
that,
not adding anything else in there to keep it malleable and not
no,
drying out?
literally 3 ingredients: spirulina, Ultra B, sugar syrup, right? And then on that note, though, do some more reading, right? Don't take my word for it, right? I'm just a freaking beekeeper here. There's been studies on it, right? Read the studies. Just a quick Google search, and then you can find what other people are doing. I have actually been in contact with the USDA. I can't remember his name off the top of my head because I'm dumb, but the one that's doing the research, and he's the one that kind of clued me in that chlorella's got a closer match to natural pollen as far as the lipid content. So I'm hoping
Chlorella?
to, yeah, it's another microalgae stuff. It's like CHLORRA or something like that.
Cholera.
Cinderella.
I don't know.
I don't think it's cholera. Bob.
Yeah.
Have to give your bees cholera. They'll be more
Well, I've
healthy.
been feeding my bees cholera this spring.
Yeah. That and a swamp turd.
That's some really tasty honey.
Wonder why your honey customers are sick.
You gotta
Cholera
boil it first
outbreak.
before you can consume the honey, though.
Yeah. Just do a quick search on it. You can read the studies. It is pretty cut and dry that it's a better nutrient mixture, but it's the delivery method that needs work. You know what I mean? Because you really, like, I joke about it, but I don't want to turn green every time I touch my pollen.
So, Tom, I have a question. So the patty you showed, you said it doesn't dry out or didn't dry out. So what about a quantity? What if you left a nice quantity on top of the frames and they don't get to it fast enough, it still won't dry out?
That, honestly, that you just saw it. That is exactly how it's been. It's been sitting in a box on the floor, right? And I don't mean a cardboard box like sealed. I mean a hive body with a piece of plastic stapled to the bottom of it, open to the air, and it hasn't dried out since September. So, but that's one of the things that I'm actually kind of really excited about, because I hate putting in, right, if you put in too much pollen sub and then it turns into this nothing, right, and it's a waste of money. I don't know how it would do with hive beetles. I don't have a hive beetle issue. If you live in the South, putting pollen sub in there that doesn't get, might be a hive beetle haven.
Yeah.
So they have the spirulina chlorella 50-50 mix on Amazon. It's $29.95, and I don't even think it might be a pound.
Yeah, no.
Wow.
Go to Amazon.
It's from Micro Ingredients.
Yeah, you're gonna have, right,
tablet too, so that wouldn't work.
The most reasonable place I found was Walmart.com, and I think I ended up buying like 32 pounds of it. It came in 8-pound bags or something like that.
That's
and I'm not done testing it, right? So I'm advocating it for myself, right? But I'm not done testing it, and I'm also not a researcher, so that's why I keep on adding that asterisk, right? Do your own research. Don't listen to me.
And they have blue spirulina. Wonder what the difference
Make
is.
your own.
Like a giant Smurf turd there.
Yep.
A Smurf turd.
One pound bulk bag, $25. So you'd need at least 10 of those. So that's like 250 bucks.
That's insane price. Yeah, yeah, that's.
It's interesting though. I like the fact that it doesn't go dry on you. It doesn't dry out.
Yeah, that's a plus.
Of course, it
Especially
doesn't get to 115 where you're at either, does it? Outside.
Definitely not. No.
So
Yeah, that'll be the test. I'll have to test that. See if it makes.
But here's the thing. Also, so so I just thought of this. So it didn't dry out, right? But that room that I just grabbed it from is probably 25 degrees right now. It wasn't frozen either.
right.
So
Sugar don't freeze. Sugar syrup don't freeze.
yeah.
Thank God. I'd have busted buckets all over the yard.
Ask me how I know. That 1,000 liters of syrup I pumped out, that's still sitting in the yard. And it's been minus 30. No problem.
Maybe I can start feeding my cows sugar syrup so I don't have to go out there and beat through the ice to get the freaking trapping frozen.
Put some sugar in the
Some
trough.
sugar in the trough.
It'll get
Diabetic
awful thick,
cows.
but it won't freeze. Exactly.
Don't you have a stock?
You guys-
A few
formula
drops of insulin.
I'm gonna be on the news. They're gonna be like, yeah, this guy feeds his cows sugar syrup, his bees swamp turds. You know,
Shane said, Charlie, it hasn't been said yet. I think hive lifter ?
Yeah, it's
That's
getting
the hive
close.
lifter.
Getting close. I heard that a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I got James is getting me a picture of this tool that he has. He gave me some measurements on the wheelbase of the machine. Got that hammered out. Once we get this tool, whether or not I'm not sure whether it's something that I can make, or I like the thing that if you watch the video from Boris up there, they've got this tool that the one bar hooks into the bottom box handle hold, and the other one hooks in the top, and you can use it like a lever, and it pops the box up, which is even, I think, better than a hive tool. And
I think they call that a box cracker.
is that what it is up there? Is that something
I think they call it a box cracker. Yeah. Yeah, it's nothing new either. I've heard about those being used 100 years ago.
really? I mean, I don't know. I
Yeah,
never seen
just don't
I never
see them
seen one
much.
before.
Yeah, no, I've never really seen one either, but I know what you're talking about.
I like the idea, but you can jack the one end up, maybe take your hive tool and not, where maybe the two, especially in this, the two frames are stuck together, and then bring your hive lifter up there and raise it on up.
Hmm.
A little bit of tension on your hive tool works pretty good.
Yeah.
That's all we
long
use
as
with
it's
our
a-
lifter. And
What's
Long
that
as it's
now?
American
Doug?
made hive tool.
What?
A
Well, we
Chinese
use-
one just bends.
Chinese.
A lot of H words being thrown around here. I'm waiting for Brad to say something about that.
we use the crane, but then the hive tool doesn't take much of a twist to loosen the hive if you just put a little tension on them. And
Yeah.
you do that with your
Yeah.
lifter.
Yeah. That's what I do with mine. When I set escapes, I'll just get the lifter in there, give the button a push, and it'll kind of, because I got the two-way pallets, it kind of lifts the pallet a little bit, kind of tips it a little, gives some weight on it, and then get the hive tool in there, and then it just falls.
It'll pop it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it works pretty good.
I don't see that tool on Boris's site there.
I know it isn't. I don't know whether is that something that the Canadian Bee outfit sells or something.
I think
And
it's
I
in
don't-
one
I
of
don't-
it's in one of his videos, I think.
It's in one of his videos, but I mean, I don't know if is that something that a company sells or somebody else had something similar to that. I forget just where it was located at now. I seen it, and Same principle, same leverage action.
You're looking at the B3, Charlie?
Yeah.
$1,430.
Yeah, it's $1,650 delivered. If the shipping cost is accurate.
Lifting height of 48 inches. It weighs 60 pounds and lifting capacity 246 pounds. Let's see.
Yep.
Looks like it's putting in the work there. I like the back there, the support piece.
Yeah, it looks like we could lift them.
Let's see if it's got a B3 model here. So the B1 is taller or lifts higher.
Yeah, it's like what Brad has, right?
Weight.
That's what Brad has, I believe.
Steel, where the other ones are aluminum.
Right.
I think the
mine's
other one.
definitely heavy.
Yeah, we have a B1 too, but we found it wouldn't hold the weight of the boxes.
Hey, Fox Plus, good to see you. I haven't seen you for a long time.
It's been out of the loop for a minute.
Yeah.
What'd you say, Doug? Your B1 wouldn't hold the boxes up?
Yeah, like if we had 2 or 3 full honeys, I think once it got the third box, it would lift it, but it wouldn't hold it. It would creep back down all the time.
Yeah, mine does that. Yeah, and it seems to kind of get worse with age.
Yeah, I don't know. We only used ours for about 1 year.
I've been kind of looking for some ways to be able to lock it in when I lift it up. A brake or something. There is a brake on it, but it's been modified a little bit to serve the purpose. So I'm not sure what I can do. I'm not much of a fabricator in that arena.
Tell Fox Plus jumped in. We got 1,070 viewers.
Hey, Fox Plus. Yay.
See, somebody wanted to know about the type of handles I got. It's just your normal box handles.
What's the belly clearance?
I don't know what that means. Oh, I
You
get
talking
it.
the hive lifter or
My clearance, I
Charlie.
guess.
Charlie's belly clearance.
Charlie clearance.
That's funny. Thank you, Fox Plus, for the 99 pesos.
What is that? What is that?
I guess that's pesos.
That's not
I don't know.
No, that's not pesos.
What is that?
Oh no.
I thought he was from isn't Fox Plus from Spain or something?
No, Middle East, right?
Middle East, okay.
But the
Middle East? $5.76.
I just don't recognize that symbol. But I always called him pesos because of the P, and he gets a chuckle out of it. Should just throw my Ethereum wallet up there, Fox Plus. Philippine peso, Philippines pesos. That's
Oh,
funny.
Ron Smith says that the cracker will not work on your boxes. Then I don't know.
So it needs cleats. It uses the cleats to push the boxes apart.
I don't know. It's, it's
that style I've seen where it
James doesn't use cleats on his, right?
There's a thing that sits on the cleat on the bottom on the one box, and then it lifts the cleat on the box above it. I've seen a unit like that.
Right. Oh, you're talking about the board across as the cleat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now the one that Boris has, if you go on Boris's channel, Bob, he's got some videos.
Yeah, he's got one video on it that I
He's got
saw.
a couple videos on there where he's shoving. He does have like long steel, like hive tools where he sticks them in there to kind of keep the boxes from sticking back together.
Let's see if I can find a video. We will show the whole video.
It's the one he's kind of working on the left side of the stack of bees or stack of.
He developed 2 new models of the hive lifter, and they tested successfully in the field. The new models are built from aluminum. They have a compact construction and are light.
Yeah, it was a YouTube thing.
And additional
That was
support
different
wheels
from this.
to make it
Yeah, I believe so.
heavy supers. Both models have a voltage indicator.
Take and push it on for him.
220.
That's true.
Well, there we go. Okay. See, he back it up maybe some on the video.
That was just a hive tool.
Yeah.
It's just a hive tool.
That's just a hive tool. Is there an
That's not-
echo in here?
See, he stuck a hive tool in there to.
Yeah, but is
Oh,
it
that was
Chinese
one-
hive tool?
Chinese.
See, the hive tool stuck.
Well, he's just putting bee escapes on now, right?
Yeah, yeah. But he had another thing there.
What was
It's,
that
I don't know
thing?
whether it's the beginning of this thing or not.
I don't know where these guys work, but I mean, God, sticking your hand underneath those boxes, just trusting that tool. Nope.
He built
Well,
it.
he built it.
Well, any hydraulics or air, I don't know. You know,
You got it. Yeah, I understand 100%.
Yeah, I'd move it back a couple of feet.
it's only 180 pounds. Of this,
What's
you know.
what's his channel, Bob? What's his name is?
Well, this is called beebreedingcenter.com with the Canadian spelling of center, TRE instead of TER, right?
Looks kind of like this thing's going in to defuse a bomb here,
Just drags it up the side.
like one of those robots, you know.
I could imagine using those on my bees. Holy crap, would they be pissed?
Yeah, you wouldn't be dressed like Boris is. You see him in the later videos. You see him pulling honey. He's just wearing a hat. He's not even wearing a veil. He's been keeping bees a long time.
Well, he's probably used that machine so much he knows exactly where to drop it and everything.
Yeah, he's a little off center.
I like the tire size.
Are those foam
He
tires?
puts nice big wheels on it. No, they're pneumatics. You know, I'm not a big fan of those cheap Chinesium pneumatic tires. However, I haven't had a lot of problem with mine losing air. I don't know that I've maybe inflated them more than one time since I bought the thing, which was quite a number of years ago.
Yeah, we've never had a problem either, Brad.
Which is strange because that's one, the two things you can count on around my place is flat tires and dead batteries. It's just crazy. Something in the
All
water,
right.
I guess.
Yeah, is the tire actually flat or is it just that cold?
Well, that happens. You know that, right, Doug? When the weather gets really, really cold, tires go flat pretty easy.
Yeah.
All right, here's the link, Bob, to the video that I'm talking about.
All right, let me see if I can.
Getting a flat tire on the car at -40 is no fun at all.
-40 is no fun at all.
Nothing at -40 is fun, that's for sure.
Yeah.
See, that's my unit there. That's actually
Huh?
before my unit because it has different wheels.
I don't know. Go about
He
halfway
went through
through.
a few
I think.
different iterations. A few different
Apparently.
iterations when he was designing them.
Right there it is. Back up.
This way back up.
Right there. Whoa. That's what I'm talking
yeah.
about.
Oh, yep.
See that?
Yeah, box cracker.
Yes. So you just have to have a dado groove. You can't have a one of the gradual slope.
Right, right. It's flat on the bottom.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's just a straight flat on the bottom.
I bet you.
Well, that ain't gonna
put
do me
teeth
any
on it,
good
you
at
could.
all.
Yeah. I mean, you could just weld some teeth on there, right? And then damage the boxes.
As long as you kept pressure on it, it would stay in that little slope part.
Yeah. I just stick with the
Yeah,
high
that's
tool.
essentially my lifter right there. It sits back okay. I can leave three deeps sitting on that thing while I set and escape.
You need pretty level ground for it to work.
You see those handles? Boris is not a tall man, and those handles are as high as he is when he's got to push forward like that.
Yeah, like Doug said, my ground where I'm at, it's quite bumpy, so I'd have a hard time pushing that around.
Well,
I got gravel.
I'd have to move all
Well,
my.
that ground there looks mighty flat to me.
Mhm.
my yard isn't like completely smooth and flat either, and it's not bad.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think these things work great, but it wouldn't work out.
You don't
for
want to
me
get it on a hillside,
Yeah.
or anything. And yeah, if you
Well,
run
my
the thing into
yeah.
a hole,
My stuff is definitely flat.
I think just a little tension with the machine works as good as that machine he's using there.
I
Yeah.
agree. I think he's trying to demonstrate it.
One less step too.
But he's doing lots of work with the hive tool too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Somebody needs to invent something that makes the queen excluder stick to the brood chamber instead of the honey super.
I think they're called
Turn it
screws.
upside down.
This called what, Charlie? Screws?
Yeah,
Screw it to the brood chamber.
yeah.
I thought of that.
I told you, Brad,
would make the job
Vaseline.
easy.
There's single brood
Vaseline.
management.
Vaseline the top of it, and when you put it on.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I'll have to
Now, are
try
you
that.
guessing, Doug, or you tried it?
No, I when I was trying one method of raising queens, I needed something to keep a divider board from sticking. Just put
Yeah.
a little smear of Vaseline on and it worked good.
I'd be all right. Go through a little Vaseline, though. That's all I think.
I've got I never noticed that. There's a combine over there in the corner.
That meat hammer he's hitting it with. My hand hurt.
Meat hammer, yeah. That's the thing. You don't want to hit things with your hands.
Yeah, that'll call carpal tunnel.
Bob, you have a new member to your channel.
Saw that. I shared it up a minute ago.
That's awesome. Look at how tall some of those stacks are, TC says. Yeah, well, that's a Manitoba flow.
So I'm curious here. He's putting this on that box, but it doesn't look like a bee escape. Does it have the little inserts on them to let the bees escape out of it, or is that just like a feeder shim?
I think he has a special design of bee escape that he built. So it doesn't look like a bee escape to you, but that's what it is. I think that's what's going on there.
Yeah, I think you're right, Rod.
Then he pumps smoke in the back of it to get the bees to move around.
He was telling me about that when he phoned me one day telling me about his bee escapes. Yeah, DC has different wheels. Like I say, he went through a few iterations over the years to get the geometry and everything straight. And I think that's a little bit of an earlier model than when I bought mine, for sure.
He told me once he was going to make a wax spinner,
Oh,
but I've never seen or heard of it.
you know what? I think he told me that. I was emailing him the other day.
Well, anyway, that's what I was talking about, was that thing. But now like you say, he's got homemade boxes where they've got a lip on the bottom. So that ain't going to work for me then at all.
It wouldn't matter, right?
Hmm?
If you come down below the, like on a traditional box, it's got the rounded bottom. When you start lifting up, it's going to start sliding into the deal there. Oh, you're talking about for pushing down, right? The tool to pop them separate.
Yeah. The only thing I think the other one I saw that somebody made, it kind of reminded me of kind of like a jack stand where it was actually on the ground and he could raise it up and put a pin in it, and this, same lever action that would bust the boxes open and all. So, well, I'm glad that I showed that today. You guys pointed that out to me.
Charlie, you could get a Widowmaker to do the same thing.
A tree limb?
No, a Widowmaker.
Well, that's a tree limb to me.
Yeah. Oh, no, those jacks on Jeep
Barb jack.
And you just put on the bottom goes on the ground, and that top clamp will hit the bottom or the top of that handle. And
yeah,
what do you say about that, Brad?
Right.
And Brad, what do you say about that when it hits? Huh?
Bob's your uncle.
There you go. Yeah.
So I put one in the chat there.
Huh?
What Boris sent me last fall, so it kind of speaks to what Doug was saying. He's got a bunch of equipment that he's been developing.
Wow.
Maybe we'll see him at Nobby next year.
Think? I doubt it.
You doubt it?
I've been wanting to see him at Nobby for 3 years, and I ain't seen him yet.
I'm working on him.
I can't wait that long.
You waited this long. What's another 2 years?
Yeah.
Let me let this cat out of here.
I would like an uncapper that does away with that hand scratching on the frames it misses.
Yeah.
So that the new license one has you've seen the Simple Harmonies that's got the expandable blades on it, right, Doug?
Yeah.
Well, the new Lyson automatic one, when it comes through, it uses the steam blades, and then anything that's not cut by that, it rolls through those roller blades, so you don't have to touch it once you put it in there. So you don't have to pick anything loose or anything like that.
I think it takes one person on the extracting line just for that purpose.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. There was one that had, instead of the blade one, it was you could buy that roller that has the little pins,
Yeah.
and there was one that had that roller underneath the blades to take care of that too.
Oh, all right.
Let's see.
Well, it's about that time. I'm going to bow out.
All righty.
Okay, Tom.
See what
Have a
the
good night.
freezing rain we get tonight. All right, everybody have a good night.
See you, Tom.
Good night.
See ya.
Trying
Night,
to see if I can see it on one of their photos over here, but typical Better Be
So-
fashion, they've got one photo of anything.
Harleysville was asking who that. Boris Friedlander is his name. He's from Winnipeg, and he builds those lifters.
Just trying to see if they've got a photo of it. But they don't. I know I've seen it on a video.
What's that?
That Lyson automatic uncapper, where it's got the roller blades underneath it. The new ones do. Let's see. See if I can search it out on the tube here.
Charlie,
Huh?
if you want to control the temperature on your uncapping plane, just go on to Amazon, buy yourself a $25, $30 motor controller. It's a little box, plugs into the outlet, then you plug your machine into it. It'll have an off and on switch, and it has a rheostat. You can just turn it until you get the desired temperature.
That's pretty good.
Okay.
Charlie, you have the Mack hand planer, right?
Right.
Okay, nice. You have the same issue I do then, I take it.
You got to turn it on and off and on and on. And if you get busy doing something, then thing gets hot and then it'll caramelize to honey.
Yeah.
Then you got to clean it because it's like having a dull sickle bar in life.
Yep. You gotta just, it's gotta be constantly in the comb or it overheats.
Yep.
Doug, what was that called again on Amazon?
It's just, it's a motor controller.
Okay.
I have one that I use on a router. And
Variable
It would
speed
work.
motor controller.
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just works with a rheostat. You could set your temperature, no problem at all.
It's
Okay.
pretty much, it's a potentiometer, right?
Yeah.
That's a good idea. I think I'm gonna try that because
Yeah,
I
me
have the
too.
same issue that he does.
I've got the semi-automatic uncapper. That's what I have nicknamed it.
Semi-automatic.
It's semi-automatic. That's right.
I've got the fully automatic frame
Good.
smasher 6100.
It goes as fast as I can turn the handle.
There you go.
That's the one I've got.
Come on.
But it works.
I like that uncapper. If I didn't have what I had, I'd get one of those.
God, you don't even, and that, you can take that handle off and throw a sprocket on there and make that fully automatic real quick.
That's what was it called? VX honeybees out there and
Well,
VIA,
Right.
VIA
And Tom-
honeybees.
I agree. I find it astounding.
we lose him.
I find it
So-
astounding the money savings in that unit if you buy the one without the power feed.
Yeah, this has one of the, what do you call that? It's like a roll pin that goes through the handle and through the shaft right there.
Yep.
And I was thinking about trying to do that, and then I was like, but if I take that pin out, or bang it through, bang it out, whatever, then may have an entirely different issue. if in fact I can't get it get a chain on there to turn the frames in, right? Then or
if
get
it's got a shaft, you just go to McMaster.com, right? Use their website. You can put something together. Right,
and,
sprocket up top, gear motor down bottom. You can even put a little foot pedal on it, so you step on the foot pedal and it runs it.
Yeah,
and it feeds it.
Yep, or just have it run continuously. You know what I mean?
So it's I mean, for the price of this unit that I got, where was it? Oh, of course, here we go. I'll show you exactly here. It's on number 2.
Oh, you were successful in selling your other unit, right, Bob?
Yeah, I did. I sold the other one finally. This is the one I got 38 plus shipping.
Oh, that's got a nice big tank though too.
Yep, 1500 millimeters, so 1.5 meter tank, and it's on casters that lock, so I can actually roll it around out of the way for storage. It came with a inexpensive cover. I mean, you can buy a more expensive one, but it was actually, I should just blow it up instead of playing around here.
Yeah, they had that at the show.
But I mean, for what I need, I think that is perfect. For my size of operation. Actually, it's more than I need really for my operation, but hopefully I'll grow into it.
It's nice that you can, because you got that outfeed tank, then your cycle time and your extractor can be short. You can load and unload. You're not unloading your extractor and then loading it frame at a time as you uncap, right? You've got waiting there. As soon as you've got it unloaded, let's just fill it up again.
I can do 30 frames, put them in the extractor while the extractor's running, run the next 30 frames, unload, load, run another 30 frames, right? So
that's exactly what I do too.
So it's not bad. I mean, I did sell the other one, which was a 1500 millimeter tank, similar to this one, only the wheels on the other one were adjustable, or the legs were adjustable, so you could tilt one side slightly down so the honey would run down to the gate at the end, or to the drain. Sold that, and it was another tabletop steam uncapper that I sold, but
little things like that, those kind of features, I mean, they're just it's like somebody, when they sell you a loud tool and they give you a hearing protection, right? It's like those small features that make all the difference. If the legs collapse and you can change the height, that's great.
Well, you know what else? He had a what do you call it? It goes in your receiver hitch, but it's like something you'd put a 4-wheeler or something on to tote it behind your vehicle.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this will go right in the vehicle if you fold down your back seats. He's like, well, how's that? I said, because the legs, you can unscrew them and take the legs all the way out and just slide in the tank and everything, and then put the legs back on it. So that's handy. The new one wasn't like that. So I literally have to, I put a 2x4 under one set of wheels and lift it up when I'm done. So any honey in it will run.
It makes you feel silly with the nice equipment, right? And then you're like, I got this 2x4.
Yeah, that's the crazy part.
That's how I feel, with my Macks and stuff. I'm like, I got all this this big expensive thing, and I'm like, I'll stick this 2x4 under.
You think for $4,000 they would do something where even if it's some rig where you push the handle down and it just pops it up a couple inches on one side, right? Just like a lever or something that you could put down to just lift it a little bit to get it flow in one direction would be good, but no. not that lucky. So,
And one thing you have to really be aware of, and that is repetition. Like, a system can handle 200-300 in a day, not too bad. But if you get big enough, you're doing 2,000 and 3,000, then your shoulders start to play out. It's hard on the body. That's what we found.
Yeah.
So, Doug, you just called
Really
them
does. Loaded by radial, 3,000 to 3,000 frames in a season. Loading that radial, that takes a toll on the shoulders.
Yeah, it sure does.
Oh, that's the other thing about the uncapper. I just saw DC's question. Yep, I figured it out. I'm getting rid of them. That's what I figured out. I'm going to use them as I make nukes. They're probably going to get plastic frames to work them out of the system. Because most of this equipment is not designed for plastic equipment for whatever reason. So the plastic frames, there's a couple things. Plastic on stainless, it slips around, right? There's play. It moves very easily. And the dimensions are not the same as like regular wooden frames. So it has a habit of one side wanting to drop down or slide off. Like if there's a little bit extra wax on one side, it wants to hang up a little bit. So the best thing I figured is use them while I can.
Difference in the height of the plastic, the ear on the plastic frame is a little thinner than the ear on the wooden frame, and that difference will make the plastic one not work in my uncapper.
So I end up having to use a hive tool a lot. When it drops down a little bit on one side, I end up having to push up on it, which kind of messes up the actual uncapping action of it. So yeah, I'm working on getting those out of there. As far as the bees don't care. Some people say my bees don't like plastic. That's bullshit. I'm just calling it that. It's not your bees don't care at all. You care. That's right. About it. And you put that on your bees. Your bees don't care about plastic frames. Yeah. However, my equipment cares or not about the plastic frames, which makes me change it up. So, hey, James.
Evening, guys.
Good to see you.
I haven't been on here in a while, so I figured I had a few spare minutes and a bit of spare time, and I figured I'd pop on in here.
Well, we are good to see. Look, James, I'm coming to visit.
I was going to see if you had your passport or not. So that's
mine. Guess who's got hung up?
Uh-oh. You're not going to leave her behind, are you?
What's the emoji?
Has anybody ever told you happy wife, happy life?
Yeah, well, what bugs me is we've paid for expedited service, right? So she called them today when mine came in. She's like, I haven't received any updates, nothing. Oh, no, it's fine. It's still working. And then tonight she gets an email saying, no, yeah, you got to redo your application and send it in and use this reference number. So,
oh, man.
And it's something stupid, too, which is the problem on it is because we had started doing our passports when my grandson was born in case we wanted to go visit, but we never filed them. Oh, yes. So when we went to the passport office, the lady whiteouted over the date.
Oh no!
And this is at the office you're turning it into. Whiteouted on the date, and we rewrote the date in. So when you send that into the government, they're like,
Yep.
And my wife even told her, "Hey, I'll quickly fill out another one. It's like one page, just a signature page, right?" And so now, guess what she's having to do?
Brutal.
Just redo that piece of paper to send it back to them.
And of course, she's happy as all get out to do that, right?
Oh no!
But isn't it nice to know, Bob? Isn't it nice to know that the person at the office whose actually job this is will still get paid the same at the end of the week? That's really comfortable to know that, right?
Yep. Oh, they're going to get paid more because I got to go back to the post office to mail this back overnight, right? To try to expedite it as fast as we can. So, I don't know. But hey, one of us is going to Canada.
There you go.
She'll come in here raging in a minute.
I won't make it over there because I am going to Canadian Honey Council and BTAC and stuff like that here in Calgary, beginning of February. So I'll be down there for that one. So I won't be making it over your way.
Well, I mean, it's only an 18-hour drive each way, man. What's the holdup?
Yeah, that's pretty.
Do that in
easy
like a
after
weekend.
my last trip.
You do that in a weekend, 18 hours each way.
Well, I do have to go over there. It's just I don't know if everything will be ready and in place by then. It would be nice, but we'll see.
Well, I think we're coming in on the 22nd. So a month from today, actually, and leaving out on the 27th, I believe is the date, right?
So
Tuesday.
have you got like a
27?
great big winter parka for him, Brad, and like big mitts and toques, and he can't go home without a Canadian toque. I mean, he's got to have a toque.
Has your wife seen the coat?
That coat with all the yarn balls on it, yeah.
Go show James the coat that I got for Amy.
Let me see if I can find the photo here.
Picked up her coat so Amy is not cold getting out of the airport.
I sent it to her, so I'll be able to find it easier in her chat. All right, this is the coat.
Ice road trucker starting. That probably is. It should stay warm.
And she's not buttoned up. What in the world?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She looks happy, too. She's got to be Canadian. Look
Looks
how
happy.
happy she looks to have that jacket on.
Very happy.
Well,
That's
let me
stylish.
just put it this way: when my wife first joined me up in the Northwest Territories, she came up there. I made sure she was well equipped. Now there we actually did get, in all seriousness, the big goose down parkas and stuff like that. And yeah, you can actually go outside at minus 50, and believe it or not, you're comfortable in that kind of clothing. But of course, you pay for that through the nose too. But she was warm, so it was worth every penny and every cent I paid.
Well, she reminded me, I still have my winter boots from Michigan. I'm like, I don't. So still, it's not Canadian cold.
Actually, you know what? We had a couple weeks of brutally cold weather, but next week it's forecasted, like, believe it or not, there's +4, +6, and I think I even saw one there +9 in beginning of end of January, beginning of February. Now we get Chinooks here, but we never get Chinooks anything like that. Like, that is just absolutely mind blowing. The weather we're having this year. So I'll be honest with you, I'm quite concerned because we might have 8 inches of snow is all we got out there. Well, actually, you'll be able to see Saturday. So there's a video that's uploaded there on Saturday. It'll come out. It's absolutely crazy. They're forecasting a hot, dry summer here, and unless we start getting some snow or some precipitation early in the spring, it's not looking good.
Those guys lie all the time, James.
Yeah, that's me. Not even looking at the forecast, But I go by the aviation forecast still, and where those guys are actually legally obligated to tell you what the weather's supposed to be. They're forecasting, remarkable weather here, next week as well. So it's going to be an interesting year, I think.
We've got almost 2,300 people watching right now.
Nice.
So
we got plus temperatures here this week coming.
Yeah. Isn't that something? That's got to be hard on your bees outside, is it not, Doug?
I don't think it bothers them a whole lot.
No. I know if they didn't have them wrapped up properly here, any of that hoarfrost or anything they had in the top of the hive would melt, drop down and drip down into the bees. Then you end up with wet bees, and of course, then it would go cold again, and you'd end up losing that hive. So,
yeah, we have plywood covers over top.
Oh, okay. So you got the airflow.
Yeah, But you wouldn't want to be out or close to the yard when it gets to +3 or +4, or you'd get painted.
Yeah, no doubt. Come back yellow. So,
Well, you guys don't want to know how hot it's going to be here next Monday. And
It's gonna be 75 degrees later this week here. It's going to rain.
72 Monday and Tuesday. So for you folks up north, that's 22.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm going to wear short pants out in the yard just so I can do a video of me in short pants for Brad.
We're just happy you're wearing pants. Period.
I'll go out wearing my drawers. It's too hot
was
to
out
be in
in the
short
yard in
pants.
short pants today.
Yeah.
I was in the yard with short pants today.
No, there you go.
It's too hot in the shop. I was working in the shop and it's just too hot, so I was wearing short pants, and then I had to go outside for a while, so I was out there, jacket and short pants. So it was a bit of a fashion statement.
I finally spent some time out in my wood shop, and I walked into my wood shop and I looked around and I thought, good God, this is a disaster beyond disasters. And then I just cleared everything off the bench, finished my video, and closed the door.
Yeah.
I'll deal with it tomorrow.
Is there any update on your thieves?
No update on my thieves, but I'm ready if they decide to come again.
Nice.
So
Charlie's staying anonymous. He's blurry back there.
No, I was looking at looking at
Looks like he's
Doug's
been drinking.
suggestion about a rheostat or off of Amazon. It has variable speed and full and all that stuff. What do you put this on a router in order to slow the bit down or something?
Yeah, I can control the speed of the router with it.
Oh, okay. No, it's like $20 you can buy the thing.
Yeah, they're
so
cheap.
like a little portable VFD.
Yeah.
Got her.
Yeah, I want to be able to put my
just a rheostat, really. It's very simple.
it's a to put it on my honey plane, so I control the heat better.
Yeah.
James, I had a buddy that lived in Lloydminster, and he was getting his workshop broke into all the time. There's a company that had guard dogs, and he went and got one of them. They put it in his workshop. The dog was trained to let the person in, but not out again. He was at home having dinner, and he said he heard this commotion. So he went out and he opened the door and peeked in. And he said the dog was sitting there looking at a guy that had climbed up on top of the bench and was up on a shelf. So he said, I just slowly closed the door, went back and finished my dinner, and then called the guy to come and get his dog.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. Well, the sad part up here, I mean, I was listening in and stuff, and I think a few people have mentioned that somebody had it out for me. It's not that at all. So unfortunately, there is a drug problem up here, and these guys break in and take anything that they can sell, pawn, anything like that they can make a quick buck for. So the really sad part is they're known to the police up here. They know who they are. The trick is you have to kind of catch them in the act, and even then, there's very
It's the
little
one with the
nothing.
bullet hole in his ass. That's the one that did it.
Now the unfortunate part is then you end up in more trouble than what they are.
Yeah.
They're selling some bee venom now.
Well, I don't know. I sent everybody some pictures. There is no way in hell. So you can see where their vehicle was parked kind of outside the door, and they must have had the lights and stuff like that on, because probably I'm going to say 6-8 yards outside the door, there was this black swath of bees dead on the snow, except for where their vehicle was. That was still white. So there's no way they got in their truck and drove away without that truck being right full of bees. So
good for them.
I think that's better than any guard dog I could possibly come up with. But if I had to sacrifice a couple hives, that would be the perfect way to do it.
So we got someone in the waiting room that I don't know and is not showing a photo. So that's why I haven't added them to the stream. So Daryl, if you hear us and you can get your camera going, I'll get you in here, buddy. But and disappeared. So yeah, because we learned our lesson the hard way, having people without their cameras and then just popping them on once they come on, and that's not what we want. We don't want to expose anything to our viewers.
Oh, I thought you were say they let me in and now they can't keep me out or something.
Well, we know who you are, though.
So we were looking at those box crackers as Brad talked about. Is that what you have, James?
No, so mine look like the only way I can explain mine. Who here's had a cast? You know, anybody that had a plaster cast on. So these are a set of pliers. They kind of got a big lip on the handle, but you put them in and you squeeze it, and it's just like those pliers they use for a cast. So it goes in far enough, and as you squeeze it, it just pops those boxes right apart. It works slick as a whistle. So,
but you got to get them in there.
They actually go in fairly easy. So they're on the front of them. They're sharpened just like a hive tool is. There's two teeth that stay in the bottom and one tooth that lifts up the top. And yeah, it works slick as a whistle. I got a bunch of work I got to do out there. So I'm hoping the weather's going to stay cold. I need the weather to be cold here for about 4 days. I thought I was going to have a window there, but I'm hoping that I can keep the humidity and stuff like that down. Like I say, I got about 4 days worth of work I got to do in the bee barn here.
So you were telling me that your wheelbase span on your lifter is 24 inches wide.
The axle is 24 inches from end to end, and then the tires sit just on the inside of that.
All right. And then his axles are normally shorter than that?
Yeah, he had those. He made those a little bit longer for me. When I told him that I was using the same pallet that Brad and Ian do, he knew exactly. He lengthened out the axles there for me, and that worked very, very well.
It looked like to me on the videos that they were your high lifter didn't do this.
No,
it was more stable.
Yeah, it worked pretty good. That's why I sent you those videos. I did find another one I'll send you. I had to make some more room in order to make my video there last night. So I did find another one.
The ones you sent me, I think I've had viewed from your channel and stuff.
Okay.
And all that. But all right, well then that's the case. I don't need to wait around anymore. I guess I'll
you won't be disappointed.
So is this it?
You really won't.
Is this the last piece of info we need before?
That's all it was. I was wondering what he had to use.
Stand on that order.
Yeah, let's go ahead and put it in the
put it in the basket.
Put it in the basket or whatever it is he's got on there.
Exciting.
Are you ordering it like live right now?
No, not right this moment.
Charlie. Hive lifter, Charlie. Hive lifter. Come on.
We need proof.
there you go. So
I'm phoning Boris in the morning
from grafting down there, Bob.
Yeah, call Boris up tomorrow morning and say, hey, you're going to get an order in.
Did Charlie order that lifter yet?
So last year we grafted in March, and it was right around the 1st of April when the first cells were available. Right. So I saw where the commercial guy up the road about an hour is pollen patting up all his colonies right now. So
you see the where Aaron Ron, it's who's trying to get in. I think
Ron.
I said he's waiting on his video cam to finish setup.
Yeah, did you ever see that comedian guy?
Was that Saturday Night Live?
I don't know. It was. I found him on the internet where he's a school teacher and he's a substitute, and it's like Ron and
saying all the names incorrectly.
All the kids' names are incorrectly, and I thought it was hilarious.
Ron.
But so I'm probably going to start. Well, I've already had some pollen supplement on them, but it's been kind of no flight zone, right? So it's been 30, 24 when we get up, 30s during the day, no bee flight or anything. And it's supposed to start warming up, and then it's supposed to warm up, but with rain. So I didn't really want to crack the boxes open and start disturbing them to put pollen on. But now it's like, do I just do it? You know?
There you go. Well, a bored beekeeper up here in Canada in the winter is probably not a good thing. But I dropped feed on a couple hives yesterday, so we're going to do a little bit of an experiment.
Or you just turn a knob and let it drip, drip, drip.
No, yeah, no. I didn't put that system in yet. No, these ones here, I actually I threw another box and stuff like that up top, and I've got buckets of sugar water mixed up here, and I'm going to see if I can't kick a couple hives into gear inside the bee barn.
Oh, the heated hives.
I got the hive heaters ready to go. You betcha.
The bug man.
I saw Bruce got his beetle vac system there.
Nice.
And vacuumed up what do you say, 900 and some beetles out of some colonies.
Yeah, that's, I don't know. You're not going to do that when you got 100 colonies or more.
Unless you got a lot of time.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's got that much time.
Take out every single frame, vacuum off every single beetle. It's a lot of time for that. Which, conveniently enough, I can't say this for the bug farmer, but some people were against trying peppermint because it took too much time. But the vacuum idea, people spend all day vacuuming out.
I did pass along to the bug farmer the results you were seeing with those bottom boards and those oil trays. So he had mentioned he was going to look into those.
Yeah, they're not cheap though. Cheap is relative. If you're losing bees from hive beetles every year, then $50 is worth it, right?
Yeah, well, he's pretty savvy in the wood shop and everything too.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if he could zip something up there pretty quick.
That's like the guy out there that's got those trays that are got the ripples in them.
Yeah, you can buy that. You can buy just the plastic insert piece and just customize it. Build one. That's what Sam did. He just bought those inserts from the guy and just made his bottom boards that way.
So, like I said, he's pretty savvy. So, and he's a lot like me. So he'll look into it. He'll do a bunch of research. He'll think about it some more. Think about it a little bit more. Not quite as long as Charlie's been thinking on a hive lifter, but we'll think about it, and then he'll execute on it if he decides to. So,
I guess I'm in the buying mood. I bought a tractor this last week, and so
do it. Yeah. Switch to your screen view. Buy it right now.
Make it rain. Charlie's sitting over there with one of them stripper guns that shoot out money. Shooting everywhere, all over the stage here. That's funny. All right, guys. Well, it is 10:26 Eastern time. We've been going 2 hours and 15 minutes tonight. It's saying we've got 2,678 people watching right now, or actually 2,747. So,
booyah.
Nice.
And if I look where that division is, I can tell Fox Plus has been there because there's 1,767 watching on Brad's channel and 985 watching on my channel.
Yeah.
Does it show anything from mine there, Bob?
I'm not showing that you're sharing it there, bud.
Yeah, I must not have something set up right. I did try to do that here tonight. So,
but we will be live tomorrow night on Lee's channel, Kodiak Farm Bees, at 8:00 for our regularly scheduled broadcasting. So we will see you guys tomorrow.
Tune in tomorrow for the Twilight Zone.
Good night, everyone.
Nice.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
That's right.
Good night, all.